Hello and welcome. I'm your host Pedro, and as you can see, we have on the table the iconic Franchi SPAS-12. I'm sure you recognize this combat shotgun from many movies, video games, and TV. The SPAS-12 is a very unique shotgun. As mentioned, it's in pop culture and a very collectible and sought-after shotgun for any firearms collector. The SPAS-12 was produced by the company Franchi in 1979, that today is still producing shotguns, but not in the way they did when producing this shotgun. Franchi, that is now owned by Benelli, only makes hunting and sporting purpose shotguns. Unlike the SPAS-12, which was created for law enforcement and military purposes, which is where the acronym SPAS comes into play. SPAS, or Special Purpose Automatic Shotgun, or later renamed, sort of, to the Sporting Purpose Automatic Shotgun, which was due to the import ban and assault weapons ban in the early 1989 and 1994. I'll get to that later. Now, this SPAS-12 is a dual mode, meaning with the press of a button, right now it is in the manual mode, with the press of a button unlocated underneath the handguard right here. By pressing that forward and then slightly back to lock it into place, you are now in automatic or semi-automatic. Now, speaking of the law enforcement / military purpose of this shotgun features a folding stock, a pistol grip, which was another reason why it was banned for importation in 1980, in the 1980s. And from what I read in, I believe, the SPAS12.com site, or it was also meant to be intimidating when presenting the weapon in a non-lethal purpose, which is where the manual mode comes into play. When you place the weapon in manual mode, you're allowed to cycle non-lethal rounds, non-lethal being beanbags, rubber, buckshot, etc., whatever else is too low and under power to automatically cycle the shotgun in semi-automatic mode. Obviously, this weapon being very iconic in pop culture and movie media, was featured in Jurassic Park, being held by Muldoon when he's hunting the raptors, and more famously in the movie Terminator, being wielded by Arnold, who played the Terminator. And the two scenes where this shotgun was actually used was in the gun shop scene where you see Arnold playing as a Terminator, asking about the 12-gauge autoloader, where the gun shop owner, hands it to him, and later on you see the Terminator unaliving the gun shop owner. Then more infamously used in the police shootout, where Arnold one-hands this chunky shotgun in his left hand, and in his right he was holding the AR-180 converted to full auto, which I believe in the movie is the AR-18. Now, the reason I mentioned this gun being very chunky or heavy, this is a 9.5, almost 10-pound shotgun that's not loaded. And I believe it's almost closer to 10 pounds when it is loaded. Now, underneath the heat shield, you will see it has springs and a gas system right here. And obviously underneath the gas system is the 8-round tubular magazine. Now, to load said tubular magazine, I learned this the hard way, you have to be pressing this button. Now, when holding and pressing down that button, it will let you load all 8 rounds into the tubular magazine. Now, if you don't press and hold that button, you can't load the shotgun. Now, I've heard I gotta say Fudlower, I'm guessing, I'm not sure, but I heard somewhere that you were supposed to hold both this button and this one. You don't have to. This button, which is on the front right here, is a magazine cutoff, when the magazine is fully loaded, say with lethal rounds, you hold that button, it will hold in place. Right now it won't hold in place because I have no shells in the tube. You are allowed to use non-lethal rounds in the chamber. It will lock back indicating that you're anyway simulating an empty chamber right here. Now, one thing to note, if and when you do decide to buy a SPAS-12, you have to look out for a couple of the deteriorating parts. That being, as you can see right here, the grip plug. Mine is missing the grip plug, which you can see is made of very brittle polymer. Another one that, when I took apart the shotgun, was the the recoil absorber inside the receiver. Now there's replacement parts online. I gotta say, like less than $14 you can find them. You just gotta make sure you get the right one. Mine is the older version, which looks more like a cone, and there's another one that's more straight walled. That was the newer production one, but you have to make sure that you replace at least this piece inside the receiver before you even think about shooting this weapon. Another piece that I had to replace, luckily I found it by an eBay seller online, is this, I believe it is called the sling drum. This was back then when it was produced. It was made of a polymer, which when I had purchased the shotgun, it was totally missing the sling loop right there. Now I replaced it with a metal part handmade by someone on eBay, and well, I like it way better than the old polymer one that it had. And as you could tell, there is two versions of folding stocks. I believe is the earlier version, which to fully extend the folding stock, you have to press that little lever right there. You can then, like in the movie Jurassic Park, start to unfold the shotgun folding stock. Then you have to press the stock button right there, press it, it will snap into place, which then you can go to the very end and go to the stock end piece, press that button right there, boom. Now you have a place to shoulder the weapon. Now, I don't really shoot this in the extended position as of yet because I am missing a piece that belongs right there. That used to be, I believe, a polymer piece, which, being bad polymer was back in the early 80s, is completely gone. You will need to replace this before even thinking about shooting the weapon, because if you do not, as you could tell, there's a lot of play. When you have the buffer installed, there should be no play. And if you decide to shoot your weapon, you still can, but if you decide to shoot the weapon, you have run the risk of damaging this piece right here, and that will be a very hard piece to come by, as you will need to buy either the whole pistol grip stock assembly or a whole new shotgun. This folding stock is also missing the carry handle, or the arm brace or arm hook, which is a piece that, from what I discovered, was a lot of people got rid of because they didn't know what it was meant for, or they didn't see no use for it because it was meant for law enforcement purposes only. But I will find one and replace it. Another piece that I am missing is the old school sling. Now, it could take HK mounts towards the rear and the front of the magazine tube right here. I do have a knockoff which fits the role, fits the itch of it being combat green or OD green, but I have found a few slings on eBay, but they go up towards $200 plus the importation fee or tax, whatever you want to call it. Now, as I mentioned before, this is a very popular shotgun that I saw out in the gun community. I got lucky that I found this at a gun show from a local gun shop near where I live. They were asking for $4,700, not including the tax. I talked them down after noticing all these missing pieces and whatnot. I talked them down to $3,700. So I knocked off $1,000, which I believe it was an okay, well, not okay, an actually good deal for me to get. Now, mentioning parts on the shotgun that are either missing or, in my opinion, not safe is the safety lever right here. This is one of few weapons that, in my opinion, will kill someone unintentionally, because when you flip this to fire from the safe position, which is safe position being towards the rear, and you put it to the front, luckily mine doesn't seem to be worn out badly, but with enough time of flipping it back and forth from safe to fire, it can unintentionally fire. There's a replacement part. I've seen them. I've seen one that would go for $500 for just a trigger group. That's a little pricey for me, but the one with the lever is the more sought after. As I mentioned before, this shotgun is also used in other media, which being video games. More iconically, it was used in the Modern Warfare 2 series and the Black Ops 1 series. In the Black Ops 1 series, it was more famously used with the stock folded up, but in semi-auto. I believe that is the first time in video game history that you see it being used in semi-auto. Modern Warfare 2, it was used as pump action. Speaking of it being used in semi-auto, it is used when loading the SPAS-12 in the Black Ops video game. They do not depress the button, which you will need to depress the button to even load it. In the video game, you see him one-handing it, which I don't recommend. It's a very heavy shotgun, and trying to load it without pressing the gate, which is impossible. I tried, doesn't work. Now, going to trying to buy one of these shotguns, well, good luck with that. There was only, I believe, 1,800 imported to the United States, varying from this version with the upgraded safety, folding stock, the second generation folding stock, and the fixed stock, which was after the 1989 assault weapons importation ban. The 1994 ban is what ultimately killed the shotgun. That and many others. Another one being, I believe, the Striker 12 or the Street Sweeper. You can kind of see why they didn't want that one in the streets. But if you're looking to buy one of these, you're in luck. I believe the company Bronco Arms is coming out with what they are calling the TAC SX-12, which is a Turkish clone of this shotgun. Now, is it going to run like this one? I don't know. I will, once I find out that shotgun is up for sale in the United States, I will try to buy one, and I will do a side-by-side comparison. Hopefully I get a better camera. But as I mentioned before, very famous shotgun. I'm happy to have this in my collection, and I can't wait to do a full shooting video whenever I can, as this is my side project. This is my, not really a side job, but this is my side hobby where I'm trying to make as many videos as I can of my small little arsenal that I have. I believe it's small because I only have 50 weapons, and those are rookie numbers. I gotta pump them up a little bit. Now, I would like to say special thanks and thank you for watching. I would say thanks to Ian McCollum from Forgotten Weapons, Wilson from Hollywood Guns, Internet Movie Firearm Database.org, and the SPAS-12.com site for inspiration and information on this beautiful and exotic weapon.